So, I'm about to tell you the real reason why prospects keep ignoring you. And it is not what the people who are selling you on outbound messaging and selling you on learning how to sell better in the DMs and everything else. It is not what they are telling you. But first, I want to tell you how this came about so you can see a bit of context and you can also see why I'm wearing this as well. So, literally, just now, I was just walking back from kickboxing. Did my work in the morning, my little money block, walking back from kickboxing and checking up on my client community. And we're all in a WhatsApp community together. Everyone's always talking and helping each other, and it's really cool. And there was a lot of talk of, sending messages, trying to start conversations, because we do say at the start, getting your business to grow is like getting a plane to take off from the ground. That take-off period, so, when you're just starting out and you haven't got as much momentum, you do need to get your hands dirty a little bit. And it does take a disproportionate amount of effort to get things going, as it does once it's actually flying in the air, just like a plane. And so there's a lot of talk on messaging, starting conversations, and there was an interesting mix between people who were getting, having a good time sending messages, people that were having good conversations, booking calls or making offers in the DMs and making sales. And there was a mix of people that just feel like a huge proportion of the people that they're messaging, it's just not going anywhere, right? It's just no one wants to talk to them. Someone was even getting everyone selling back to them instead of them being able to have a sales conversation. And I told them this, right? And this is what I'm telling you. This is what's going to be very useful. So listen up. Success in the DMs, whether it's completely cold outbound, which I wouldn't suggest anyone does, but some people are doing that. You might be watching this because you do it. I wouldn't suggest anyone does completely cold outbound. Or if you've got an offer coming out and you're just messaging old leads, or you're messaging people that have shown interest before. Or if you're just trying to start conversations and you're going through the people that have liked your stuff, people that are watching your stories, or whatever else it might be, new followers as well, right? All of these things. Success in the DMs is so much less about what you say versus who you are. It's so much more about who you are and who you are perceived to be than what you actually say, right? Improving what you say is useful, of course. So if you're terrible at it and you have no clue what you're doing, improving what you say is going to help. Mostly though, if you're just kind of being a nice, genuine human being and showing some sort of curiosity, you're probably going to be okay on that side of things if you are socially adept. If one cue that is very useful though, and I'll just share this in here because it's going to be useful anyway, is always know the next step that you're trying to take them on, right? So let's say you're in the conversation, or you're trying to start, you're in the DMs and you know that the next step is a call. Don't try and sell them. Don't try and coach them. Sell the call. This single cue has transformed people's DM game. When they're in the DMs and they're chatting and they're not trying to sell them, they're not trying to coach them, they're not trying to make them think that they're really smart, and they're just thinking, all I need is to get this person on the call, which is the next step. So always know the next step and always just sell the next step. So if that's a call, sell the call, right? Though that's kind of like the 80% of what you need to know about what to do. The most important thing is who you are and who you are perceived to be. This is the thing that is almost always going to be the difference between if you get ghosted or if they're open to actually speaking to you, right? Because think about it for yourself. If you're watching this, you probably get a million broccoli-haired 18-year-olds and people from India and Pakistan and stuff like this. That's just where they're from a lot of the time. Sliding into your DMs, they're probably in your requests, saying random shit, telling you that we're going to get you 120 appointments booked, and you ignore them, right? You ignore every single one. The negative ones of you might send back a mean message, but the normal people just ignore them, right? And they just move on with their lives. But Think about if someone dropped into your DMs who you've watched 10 hours of YouTube content of before. You didn't know they knew you, or maybe you did, either way, but you probably didn't know they knew you, and you were just watching their Instagram, YouTube content, and you felt like you had a bit of a connection with them. They've helped you out before, as a one-way thing from their content and everything. If that person slid into your DMs, you'd probably respond, and they probably wouldn't have to have anywhere near as much engineering of what that message is going to be and when to say it and all that other stuff, because you'll just want to talk to that person, right? So understand that when you are out there sending messages and everything else, the biggest thing is who you are and who you are perceived to be. This is where the outbound specialists or the people that are, obsessing around the scripts and the frameworks and what to say and when to say it, this is where they go wrong. They're spending so much time on what to say, the tiny little 1% differences, that they're not doing the things that make the biggest difference, which is creating connection with your audience and setting yourself out as an authority. They are the two things that are going to make the biggest difference. And the best part is they don't just make a difference to that one message, right? If you're obsessing over like, what shall I say or what do I say or everything, you're obsessing over the one message that you're about to send or when it makes that one, when you're doing that one message, right? Whereas when you're obsessing around how can I get my audience to feel super connected to me and they feel like they've got a relationship with me, and how can I get them to believe and to see me as an authority in this space? When you do those two things, not only does every single DM conversation improve, but everything else improves as well. So it is much more worth your time, right? So that moves us on to how do we do this? So there's two things, right? Authority and connection. So how do we improve authority? Well, first of all, it's how you present yourself, right? It's how you present yourself. How are you presenting yourself to the world? Are you actually coming across as an authority? Do you feel like an authority? I think this is where your inner world starts to really shine out into the outer world, right? If you feel like you don't belong here, if you feel like you're not very good, if you feel lucky to have a client, not that they're lucky to have found you, you're not going to feel like an authority. You're not going to come across as an authority, right? So number one is simply come across as an authority. Number two, be inspirational. One of the biggest things that holds coaches back is, not all coaches, but like certain subset of coaches, is they're not inspirational. They've never really done much that their audience can like aspire to. There's not much different about them, right? If you're not inspirational, it's going to be very hard to build a coaching business, right? You need to be like on your game. You need to be on your game well. You should have probably done something pretty good in the game that you help people with, but you at least want to be on your game. Fat personal trainers that are helping people get shredded are not going to win, right? So it's being inspirational, and then it's also having a unique methodology, right? So inside the Align Creator, my program, everyone creates their signature process. Inside there are unique mechanisms, and everyone's got their own specific unique way. It's not unique it's not better than any other way in the world, because that doesn't exist, right? But it's a unique methodology, a unique process, a unique model that is the best for their specific dream clients, right? Whether that's demographic or psychographic. And then they're not just trying to stand out by posting tips, they're standing out by showing that they have a new way. This is huge for authority. When you're able to come into the marketplace and you're talking about your new way of being able to get this result that is the best way for your market, your dream clients, because of their psychographic, their personality, their demographic, whichever you've chosen, you win. And the next is, and then the final one on there is results as well. If you're being able to produce amazing results for your clients and you're able to show them all of the time, all of this is going to make you seem like an authority in your space and be an authority, right? Seeming and being is the same thing. Authority is really in the eye of the beholder, right? So it's all really the same thing. And the final one there is like, do cool shit that other people can't do, or other people won't do. Like if you're in for example, I'm in the business coaching niche, right? And there is so many people that are like posers in the business coaching niche, and they're so open to lying. They're so open to just kind of being something that they're not. But there's certain things that they can't do. So at the start of this year, I had a live event with 30 of my clients. All came down to Manchester, and there's a video of it on here on YouTube, and we kind of spent the day together. We spent 2 days together. Now that's nothing crazy, right? People have had way bigger events than that, but also there's lots of people posing that would not be able to fill a room with 30 people that pay them, that have like traveled down to see them, right? Things like that, again, speaking on stage or doing things that not everyone can do, again, gives you authority. On the other side is connection, right? So on the connection piece, we got, are you actually posting things that people can actually build a relationship with you? So short form, little 15-second clips and things like that, they're not going to be great for connection, right? Posts where you just sit in one corner of your room and just say a random tip without giving anyone any kind of inkling into your world are not really going to build much connection, right? So how do we build connection? So first of all, we stop thinking about content creation and we start thinking about world building, right? So in a world, you have people, places, and storylines, right? And you also have language as well, but we'll leave that one out because it gets complicated. People, places, and storylines, right? So your content doesn't just want to be value. Just give them value, bro. It doesn't just want to be tips. It wants to be useful. It wants to be insightful, but it also wants to, every single time, give people a picture of your world. Give people a picture of the people in your world, the places in your world, the storylines that are going on in your world. Have something going on. Have a narrative going on that keeps people's attention. Obviously, around that as well, let people into your life too. Not just what you do for business, but let people into what you've been up to. You know, like the start of this video, I spoke about how I just finished kickboxing, still wearing the clothes from kickboxing as well. And finally, in connection, instead of all of these short form videos, 30-second clips trying to go viral, have some long form in there too. Like we said right at the start, if someone, if you've watched hours of someone's YouTube content and then they drop into your DMs, right? You're going to respond because you feel like you've got a connection with them. So make sure that you're posting somewhere and you're producing content where people can really can binge you, can spend some time with you, and can really build that connection. When you do all of these things, number one, when you send a message, people will be receptive, even if you send a terrible message, right? But number two, all of this stuff goes way further than sending out a message to a client, right? When you put an offer out, people are going to listen. When you, when people are going to come in, right? People are going to be inbounding too. So eventually you're not even going to need the outbounds anyway. So that's that, right? Stop obsessing around the script, the message, all of that 1% change, and start obsessing with how can you create a much deeper connection with your audience. And so much of that just comes from uncensoring yourself and showing the parts of you that you don't think that you're meant to show. Just not the parts that you're definitely not meant to show. And set yourself apart as an authority. People will become receptive.